Hello there. Greetings, everybody. Welcome here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I'm the host of this show. So, this is an episode of Into the Progverse, in which we will be talking about those great prog albums that came out in 1977. So, I've kind of done three things here because I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, so probably most people won't get a chance to watch this till after. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the 12 albums that I have from 1977 that have prog or prog elements in them from 1977. I got the 12 albums here. In addition, I will give you the list of albums that I would like to have. That's my goal, sorry. Kind of wolfed my supper down so I could get here in time. And I left out all of the jazz fusion stuff, and there's a ton of it. There's a lot of jazz fusion in 1977. And there's quite a few in there that I'm kind of a little bit interested in, but I don't want to get into the jazz fusion. This is basically prog music for me. Jazz fusion is it's a different genre, really. I mean, there are some bands that have elements of both in their music, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. If it goes too far that way, though, I kind of lose a little bit of interest. So for those jazz fusion fans out there, I apologize, but I could have added another 30 albums to the list. Anyways, we're going to get started now that it's past 8 o'clock, and I'll try to do these fairly succinctly and fairly quickly because I don't anticipate it much if anybody will show up because of the football game, but we'll do it anyways. So the first album up is from this band, Queen, News of the World. Great science fiction cover for sure. The actual whole thing, it looks pretty damn neat. I don't know. To me, I don't know that there's a lot of prog on this album. A little bit, maybe. Yeah, there's not a ton of prog on this album, but it has a proggy cover, which gives it that feeling of prog. There's a little bit of prog here in the style and stuff that's going on, but most of these songs are just good rock songs. Of course, it has the big "We Are the Rock," "We Will Rock You," and "We Are the Champions." Likely that song will be played tonight at some point at the end of the football game, I'm sure. Got some hard rock on here, some real jazz bluesy stuff on here as well. It's a typical middle of the discography for Queen. Those three albums in the middle there, News of the World, Day at the Races, Night at the Opera, all have a bunch of different stuff going on. And so I guess in that sense of the word, it is proggy because it's different on pretty much every track. It's Late, pretty solid track on here as well. So Get Down, Make Love, Another Good. This is a solid album. I don't know how proggy it is though, but I included it anyways. Next up is a live album from Genesis, Seconds Out. I did one not too long ago in one of the episodes. Actually, I don't think I did it because it came out in 73 and it was part of the 1973 series I ran last month. So I actually didn't do it, but this one is good. Seconds Out is the first live album after Peter Gabriel left, featuring Phil Collins, Mike Rutherford, Steve Hackett, and Tony Banks, along with Chester Thompson and Bill Bruford on here as well. Lots of good stuff coming off of this album. Squonk, Carpet Crawl, Robbery, Assault, and Battery, Firth of Fifth. I Know What I Like in My Wardrobe. Of course, that's a great tune. And then a couple tracks. Also, you have The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway and The Musical Box closing section, which is really quite good as well. And then you have on the second disc, because this is a double, you have Supper's Ready, the epic length song by them, Cinema Show, Dance on a Volcano, and Los Endos. So a really strong live album. I prefer the Untitled Genesis live album over this, not specifically because I think it's got more better songs on it, although I do think it does that. But also, it has all five of the classic members, where this does not have Peter Gabriel on it. So, yeah, fantastic album, though. Great. And that's my choice for one of my prog albums. Next up, this is another album. I don't know how much prog is on here. Probably more on here than the Queen album for sure. We'll talk about Styx's Grand Illusion. Yeah, you can definitely make arguments for Man in the Wilderness and Castle Walls and the grand finale as all being somewhat proggy in nature, but there's as much hard rock and all kinds of different elements going on here, arena rock, all kinds of stuff. But still a great album. Many consider this to be Styx's best album. Their what do they call it? Magnus opus. It did very well. Come Sail Away, of course, and The Grand Illusion, both big hits for this. Miss America and Superstars and Fooling Yourself, all very well-known tracks. But to me, the two proggy songs, Man in the Wilderness and Castle Walls, both really good too. So strong album, not as proggy as some of the stuff that's going to come now, but definitely has that prog elements to it. I was looking for something that I don't see. Oh, here it is. Got to make sure I keep my throat wet or it'll just start cracking and I won't be able to get anything out. Next up is this album from Peter Gabriel, his debut album, Peter Gabriel 1. This has Moribund the Burgermeister on it. And there is some other stuff, Humdrum, Slow Burn, Down in the Dulce Vita, Here Comes the Flood. So all these songs have a little bit of prog in them. This album is probably, I think it's probably his proggiest album, but for some reason it's not one of my favorite. Although I do like Humdrum and Salisbury Hill here as well. Both really good tracks. This is a pretty strong album. Again, not one of my favorite of Gabriel's albums, but definitely you cannot rule this out as a great album. So Peter Gabriel 1. Next up is another album that has some prog introspections in it, sounds to it, and that's ELO, Out of the Blue. I kind of like this album. The cover is fantastic, of course. Really good. I never think of ELO really as a prog band either, although a lot of people say their early stuff is definitely prog. This has some proggy stuff on it too, but a lot of poppy stuff, a lot of hard rock stuff, a lot of bluesy stuff, some Beatles sounding stuff as well. Lots of stuff going on here. So, yeah, Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO if you prefer, Out of the Blue. Great album cover, great stuff on it. What kind of big songs? What are the big songs on this? I don't see them. Sweet Talking Woman, Turn to Stone, of course. Yes, that's probably the big track on here. I'm not as familiar with this album as I probably should. I've had it for a while. I've listened to it in its entirety maybe half a dozen times. Next, we're getting into the more well-known tracks or albums to me. So the first one out of the gate is going to be this one. Here we go. Starting already. I'm only 8 minutes in or whatever it is. Yes is going for the one, despite the fact there's a naked man on the cover. Don't let that dissuade you. Still a very good Yes album. Lots of prog on this for sure. Lots of interesting sounds too. And has one of their most proggy and one of their best and most great songs to listen to. You can listen to this with headphones or just in the dark or just listen to it straight on. Or as a background song, really good. Awaken is the song I'm talking about. Of course, this also has Wondrous Stories and Turn of the Century, which are a little bit more classical flavored. And then you got Parallels and Going for the One, which is a little more rock flavored. But definitely one of their stronger late edition albums, Going for the One. I like the kind of architecture on this album as well. And I just noticed it's got a big crack in it. Wonder when that happened. It's hard to keep the CDs from cracking, though. So that's Yes is going for the one from 1977. Next up, Alan Parsons Project. This is I, Robot. This is a good album, still fairly new to me. I'm really starting to get into the Alan Parsons Project. Ben turned me on to this band, maybe one of the most important bands he's turned me on to. He's turned me on to maybe half a dozen bands. This is one of the big ones, though, the Alan Parsons Project. I, Robot. This whole album is quite good. So this more of a poppy kind of progressive rock, but definitely the album cover along with the songs really good. This is definitely one of the classic prog albums by Alan Parsons Project from 1977, I, Robot. Next up, one of my top 5 or so favorite albums, Jethro Tull's Songs from the Wood. There's a lot of folkiness to this album. It's quite heavy, though, too. It has its heavy parts, lots of prog on this, a little bit of bluesy stuff. There's a little bit of everything. On a really good prog album, there usually is. And this one is one of the best. From top to bottom, all the songs I love. There's no bad tracks on this album. Hence the reason why it's probably my favorite Jethro Tull album. Just got everything right from the beginning. Songs from the Wood, which is the one track that was on the greatest hits and was well known to me when I got it. But then you got Jack in the Green, Cup of Wonder, Hunting Girl, Ring Out Solstice Bell, and Velvet Green. All great, fantastic tracks. And then you got some a little lesser than fantastic, but still really good. The Whistler, Pip Rock. Pip Rock's a kind of a heavy track, man. Cap in Hand. This is a heavy, bluesy, ripping guitar type track as well. And Fire in the Midnight close out the album. Kind of a passive, almost folky song. Yeah, great album. Songs from the Wood. Next up, we got Supertramp's Even in the Quietest Moment, another kind of poppy album like the Alan Parsons one, but lots of prog on this as well. Other than Give a Little Bit, which is kind of the bigger hit on the album, the rest of it is pretty good, strong. Even in the Quietest Moments, Downstream, Baba G, Fool's Overture, these are all really good, solid tracks with a lot of prog elements in them. Even in the Quietest Moment, maybe my favorite or one of my favorite individual tracks of all time. I can't listen to it too much, though, because for whatever reason, it always brings tears to my eyes. Fool's Overture, this is a great lengthy track by Supertramp. They don't have a lot of songs like this in their discography, but this one's one of the great ones. Just fantastic. And, of course, you got Baba G here, which is, to me, is a very underrated track. Should have been a major hit, if you ask me, but didn't quite make it up there, but still good. So Even in the Quietest Moments by Supertramp. Next up is an album that has been up and down on my list for this band for many years. It's been as high as my second favorite, been as low as my 5th favorite. It's on the low edge right now, but I could make a comeback when this Rush's A Farewell to Kings. Fantastic album. I love the cover. The opening 2 tracks, A Farewell to Kings and Xanadu, I consider to be the most listened to prog side of an album for me, or just an album side, period, in all my rock history. I think this is the side of an album I've listened to the most. There was a period of time when I got this album where I played that side of the album a dozen times a day for a month. Then the other side is very good too. Close to the Heart, of course, had its initial draw for me, but it's kind of faded out. Cinderella Man, kind of the same thing. Maybe it was a little bit longer of a run for me than Closer to the Heart, but I really like that track a lot too. I don't listen to it as much. I've kind of burned out a bit. Mad Rigel, really solid track. And then the Cygnus X1, which is the lengthy track, one of the 2 lengthy tracks on the album. Really good. It's really come on, as has the whole Cygnus saga. The second one being on the Hemispheres album, but that whole saga has kind of taken off for me in recent years. So the song has done very well. So, yep, Farewell to Kings from Rush, 1977 as well. Next up is going to be this one, which is, Point of No Return from Kansas. So I kind of I've tried to get into this and Left Overture, but I just haven't been able to get into it. I mean, this one gets a little bit more time because of because of Dust in the Wind being a song that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite rock songs, period. Even if it's not something Kansas isn't a band I listen to much, I do love this track quite a bit. This album to me is a little bit of a jammy album, but still pretty good. And the album covers, like all of Kansas's album covers, are fantastic. I wish I loved them as much as I love their album covers. And then the final one of the collection that I own is Pink Floyd's Animals. My favorite Pink Floyd album. It's faded a bit over the last few years because I played it so much, but it's still so good. Pretty heavy album too for Pink Floyd. Like I gotta say, if people were to ask me which the heaviest Floyd album, I would say this one. It's almost prog metal at times. That crosses my mind, but it's so good. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Probably my favorite track on here is Dogs. I think that's probably common with most people. Pretty lengthy track too. Very bitey. No puns intended. But yeah, a really strong album. Deserves, like, for many people label this as their favorite Pink Floyd album. Yet, when you hear people talking, it's not mentioned as much as Wish You Were Here or Dark Side of the Moon or Will the Wall. But I think it's better than all three of them myself. So, anyways, that's my final album in my collection of the albums from 1977. I also have a list of albums that I've been interested in getting, and for whatever reason haven't had a chance. So the first one, and probably the most important one here on the list, is Eloy's Ocean. So this is an album I've been looking for a while. I have Oceans too, but this one, many people have said you really like it. I've tried to find it, but I haven't. I've got 11 Eloy albums now, not including the live one. But this is a great song, a great album. I'm looking forward to getting it. I've listened to it several times online, but haven't had a chance to buy it. The next one, I believe, is called Islands, and the band is called Pictures. This is an album I've listened to in its entirety once. Would like to get it, so I've been looking for that as well. Next up is Genesis guitarist Anthony Phillips, who I like and have liked since the Trespass album. And his solo album, The Geese and the Ghost, is an album I would dearly love to have, of course. FM's Black Noise, of course. This is a bit of a different album. Most people probably don't think of FM as a progressive rock band, but this album definitely falls well within that symphonic prog sound. Black Noise from FM. Next is the one-off. This band only produced one album, but it was a really good one. It's called Garden Shed from England. This is an album I've talked about on some of my Battle of the Band episodes. I think this is a classically great album. Difficult to find, but definitely would like to have it. Happy the Man, the self-titled Happy the Man album. Happy the Man, not Happy the Man. Happy the Man. Would like to hear this too. I'd like to get this album as well. Very, very important. Next is Renaissance's Novella. This is, of course, from Renaissance, and I like pretty much all I've heard. It was a bit of an acquired taste for me at first. I didn't really kind of sit well with the albums, but then I bought the debut album. Sorry. And then I just started following them, and now I'm liking a lot of what they do. So definitely looking to complete the entire discography with them. Rick Wakeman's Criminal Record I don't know much about this album, but it's still early enough in Rick Wakeman's discography that it could possibly be another good one. I don't really know. People would have to let me know about that one. Haven't listened to it, but definitely would like to see more of it. Lady Lake, No Pictures, another interesting album that I kind of liked. Ethos, Open Up. I like all the Ethos stuff I've heard up to now. Would love to have their stuff, but I just haven't been able to find it. Camel, Rain Dances was that album I actually thought I had, but maybe I've mistaken it with one of the other albums it might have been the Dances album. I think it might have been that one that I mixed it up with, but definitely would like to have this one as well. Anything from Hawkwind to me is worth having. Quark, Strangeness, Charm. This is definitely an album that I've been interested in. I've listened to this album a couple times now, and I like to have it as well. Uriah Heep's Firefly. I don't think I've ever heard this one, but it probably comes at that time period that I kind of like from Uriah Heep. So with Uriah Heep, it's kind of hit and miss. I either like their albums a lot or I don't like them at all. I don't know why that is. It seems to be the case. Steve Hillage's Motivation Radio. Don't know much about this, but I like the Fish album that was given to me in one of the Battle of the Bands. So definitely would like to hear more of this album. Probably will check this out. I don't know if it's an album I'll purchase or not. And then, of course, the last one on the list, Barclay James Harvest, Gone to Earth. This is a band that I'm growing to like quite a bit, and definitely would like to at least listen to this album before I decide on it or not. There are other albums out there. There was quite a bit of when I was on, so I used a couple of the Prog archives and a couple other sites to make sure that I had the albums that I wanted for the episode. And there's quite a bit of prog as fusion out there that I think is interesting. So absolutely some great album covers, but I didn't include them because I didn't want to go into that genre without owning any of them. So it doesn't make sense. So, anyways, that's my take on the albums from 1977, the Prog albums from 1977. If I didn't mention any of the albums that you really like, you can mention them, and I'll ask questions about them for sure. Anyways, please like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. If you want to leave any comments once the video uploads, probably only 24 hours before it uploads, and you can watch it then and make your comments. So I look forward to hearing from you. And next week we'll be back one more time, at least for 1978. Another 7 Prog albums from 1978. I'm thinking now, because the series for Jam is over, that I might go back and do the 1973 at the end once I do. If I do 79, more than likely I'm going to do 78, 79, and then we'll do 73, and that'll complete all 10 years from the 70s for Prog albums. Anyways, thanks for joining me today. Please enjoy the football game tonight, and we will see you all next week on Into the Progverse. Take care. Have yourself a good one, and goodbye.